Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
Rabbi.
We're learning Mishna Psachim, Parak chapter 10, Mishna Beis, Mishna 2. Mazgulai Kais Rishon. Literally translated, that means they mixed the first cup for him. Now, Rashi is going to be the cups of wine at the Seder, which is the cup we make over. And in the Mishnah, when you talk about preparing wine or even pouring wine for the person that you're preparing wine for making kiddush, the term that's used is mazgulai. Literally, the word mosaic means to mix. Literally translated, as I said before, they mixed for him the first cup. What are they mixing? And the answer is, because in the times of the Mishnayos, the wine was so strong, not drink it unless you diluted it with 3 parts of water. So that was standard. And it seems that they did it in the cup. You know, it's not like they had bottles of diluted wine. You know, you had your wine, and they would pour the wine and then pour the water and dilute it. They did. Now, it says, Mazgulai, they poured for him. Who's him and who's they? So the him, the assumption is the person who is making kiddush for everyone, leading the Seder for everyone. Now, we know families nowadays may have different customs, but essentially, the same way on Shabbos, one person makes kiddush for everyone. By the Seder, that's what many families do, and that's the way the Mishnah is working with also. You have whoever is the head of the household, the person leading the Seder, makes kiddush for everyone. So that's the loy, that's for him. Now, that does not exclude other people aren't going to be drinking water, they're diluting their wine, because it's an obligation for everyone to drink the 4 cups of wine. So the person making kiddush is making kiddush for everyone. He's making the bracha, the blessings for them, but then they're all going to drink. So they need to have the wine diluted also. But Mishnah here says they diluted, or they mixed for him, they mixed for the leader, for the person making kiddush, to teach you, as they bring down here from the Tiferet Yisrael, that the head of the household should not be doing it himself. Others should be doing it for him. Again, it's a sign of freedom, of nobility. He's being served upon. Not that he's doing it himself, but rather they're doing it for him, like a wealthy person, like a noble person, that kind of service done for him. That's how it should be done by everybody. That whatever the wine being, they're talking about mixing it, pouring it, whatever it may be. All that should be done for the head of the household. Now the head of the household doing it himself. Now the Mishnah says, "Mazgalei Kais Rishon," mix for him the first cup, which means they prepare the first cup.
They being
the members of the household. Beis Shammai say, "Mevarech al hayoyim v'mevarech al hayayin." When you make kiddush, there are 2 blessings involved in kiddush. Beirei pri agafen, the blessing over the wine, and then when it comes to Shabbos, it's Mekadesh HaShabbos, with the event of Mekadesh Yisrael v'Azmanim, that's the declaration of the sanctity of the day. Mekadesh HaShabbos, Baruch Atah Hashem, blessed are you Hashem, who sanctifies Shabbos, or who sanctifies Israel and the times. But those are the 2 brachas, Beirei pri agafen, and what's called Shayim, blessing over the day. Now, we know that our practice is that you first make Beirei pri agafen, the blessing over the wine, and then you make the blessing over the day. But it's really an argument. It is. Beis Shammai say, Mevarach al hayoyim, v'chakach mevarach al hayayin. First, you make the blessing over the day. First, you make the bracha of Asher Kedeshanu b'mitzvaysav, and you end off Mekadesh Yisrael v'Azmanim. That's the first thing you do, and then you make the Beirei pri agafen. That's what Beis Shammai holds. Why do they hold that way? Because Beis Shammai say, look, Yontif first comes, and then you take the wine. That's basically how you do it. You first becomes Yontif, or it first becomes Shabbos, and then you take the wine for Kiddush. So this way, Yontif comes first. The blessing over Yontif, over the day, comes first. Beis Hillel say, Mevarach al hayayin. First, you make the blessing over the wine. Then you make the blessing over the day, which is what we do. What is Beis Hillel's reasoning? Because Beis Hillel say, you can't make Kiddush unless you have wine. And since you can't make Kiddush unless you have wine, therefore, you first make the bracha over the wine, and then you make the Kiddush, then you make the bracha over the day. Because you couldn't do any of this if you wouldn't have wine. And therefore, it goes first. And the same thing applies. If let's say you don't have wine, what do you make Kiddush over? Challah. Over bread. Matzah. And in that case too, you're going to make the bracha again. The same argument, according to the same argument. According to Shammai, you make the bracha over the day and then the hamotzi. According to Beis Hillel, it's the hamotzi and then the bracha over the day, and that is what we follow. So this and this machlokes, this argument by Shammai and Beis Hillel, again here the Mishna is saying it by, and it's not only there, because in brachas we also have this, I believe. It's an argument that relates to every time you make Kiddush, Shabbos, Yontif, which goes first, the Bari Pri Hagafen or the blessing over the day, Mekadosh Shabbos, Mekadosh Yisrael Azmanim, passing like Beis Hillel, the first comes the Bari Pri Hagafen, or the Hamotzi if you're making over bread, and then comes the blessing over the day, Mekadosh Yisrael Azmanim. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.